Okay, so today, the topic of discussion is, at what age can you take your pension commencement lump sum, more commonly referred to as your PCLS, or even more commonly referred to by clients as your 25% tax-free amount? So the answer to this is very simple if you are inside a defined contribution scheme such as a SIPP. Inside all SIPPs, you can access your PCLS from your retirement age inside a SIPP of age 55, which will be changing to 57 in 2028. Effectively, the UK government are making you wait a couple more years before you can get your money out of your SIPP. The reasons for this I'm not going to go into, but the point is 55 for now and 57 from 2028. If you have any questions on that transition from 55 to 57, there's certain legislation and framework, and at the time that you signed your SIPP terms and conditions, did it include this, did it not include this? There's some clients who are thinking they may be able to keep it at 55 instead of moving up to 57. We've had a couple of these clients ourselves. Feel free to get in touch or leave a comment below if you'd like to understand this in a little bit more detail. Now, in regards to final salary schemes, your pension commencement lump sum or your tax-free amount, and I'll be careful not to call it your 25% tax-free amount, will be allowed from your normal retirement age, commonly known in the industry as your NRA, your normal retirement age. The normal retirement age of final salary schemes or defined benefit schemes is, in the majority of instances, age 65. To a lesser extent, the second most common is age 60, and then in some more esoteric situations, you maybe see 61 or 62 as your normal retirement age. Now, the reason I've been careful not to say 25% tax-free amount from your final salary scheme is I am yet to see any client who has had 25% of the value of their CETV offered to them as their pension commencement lump sum. The reasons for this are very complicated, and I would probably need a blackboard behind me to even start going into the calculations that are involved, but effectively inside your DB scheme, you'll only get around maybe between 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, up to 20% of your CETV as your pension commencement lump sum. It is still tax-free, but you just don't get your full 25%. This in itself can be a very good reason for someone, or an additional rationale reason for someone to complete a final salary pension transfer. So some of my clients would say, well, why on earth would you take the tax-free amount from the DB scheme? It's way better off to have it in the SIPP. Technically, from a tax perspective, yes, you would get a higher tax-free amount inside a SIPP. However, it's not quite as simple as that. Say you have a client who has a pension pot in the final salary scheme. They have few other assets, they have dependents, and they don't have any other retirement income they can fall back on. That defined benefit scheme is actually really valuable for them, and potentially they should be advised to retain that pension scheme and not transfer it. As such, they might have a little bit less tax-free cash at the beginning, but that safeguarded benefit will provide them an income for life for the rest of their life, compared to a SIPP, which obviously has an unknown rate of return. Now, obviously, as we all know, if you have a balanced or adventurous portfolio over the course of 10, 15, 20 years, equity markets generally go up and they perform well. But there's nothing to say that equity markets might not necessarily perform as they have done over the past previous decades, or it could also be argued they're going to perform better as our market has become more efficient, further venture capital, etc., etc. So it's really important for you to understand that yes, from your normal retirement age inside a defined benefit scheme is age 60, or to a lesser extent 60 or 61 or 62. If you take that tax-free cash, it will reduce your annual pension scheme that you will get on an ongoing basis. The final point to cover off here is defined contribution schemes, which are not a SIPP. So say you have a defined contribution scheme from 10, 15, 20 years ago. A lot of these do not allow flexi access drawdown from the age of 55 or 57 in 2028. You, or through your financial advisors such as ourselves, will have to attain that information from your scheme to ascertain whether it might be beneficial for you to move to a SIPP where you can access it from age 55 or 57 from 2028, or to stay inside your current DC scheme. What I can say is, if you have a DC scheme from the previous couple of years, it's almost certain that they will have access from age 55, because it's very more in line with recent regulation. They only brought the scheme out a couple of years ago. But on the flip side, it's quite unlikely that you would have been in a scheme 2 years ago and now you've left the scheme. And if that is the case, it'll be a very small pension, so it's not going to be that big a deal for you. So for most people worried about their PCLS and what age they can take it from a DC, it's typically going to be clients from an older generation who have maybe 100, 200, $500,000. I've even seen clients for $1 million or $2 million inside defined contribution schemes. It's going to be a more important conversation for them with their older schemes. Guys, I hope that's been useful. Let me know your comments below. How how you think it should work, if you think the system should be different, if you think it's going to go up from age 57 and you're going to have to wait until 60 or 70 at some point in life to access your pension pots, let me know below. I quite like reading the comments and responding back to you all personally. So look forward to speaking with you there. And as always, take care of your UK pension assets. Thank you.